Gotta wipe the dust off. It's been a minute since I've uploaded here. Sorry, maybe we'll get back to more common uploads very, very soon. I got an itch to just record something now because of how currently relevant it is, and I really wanted to just, have a little chit chat about this. So, as you know, if you're in the Sonic space at all, you have likely been focusing quite heavily on the Chaotix Casefiles, which is an ongoing audio drama surrounding the, Team Chaotix and their mystery in regards to the astroscopic lenses. I keep forgetting how to say it. But it's been an entire thing. It's had about, I think it's on its 8th episode as of most recently. And we had a very, very massive reveal in this most recent episode with the return of Infinite. And it's so crazy to see, right? I personally, massive Sonic fan here. I never played Forces, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have the money at the time to drop on a, 2-hour, 3-hour game in Sonic Forces that was, widely accepted as just underwhelming, not the wave, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't bring myself to do it. So, I never played Forces myself, but I definitely looked very heavily into the lore and stuff like that. Maybe I'll sit down with it just to have that experience, If I could go through Sonic 06 multiple times, what's a couple hours of Forces, right? But regardless, the general consensus was that Sonic Forces, not amazing, and Infinite was just a joke of a villain, right? Just overly edgy, just nonsensical, non-directive plots and stuff like that. It was such a weird time, right? Forces was just in such an unfortunate space, and it was very clear that they didn't know what direction to go with Sonic at that time, right? Fast forward a couple years, we're looking at a massive, success with the Sonic series lately, with the movies, with Frontiers, with even some of their, their mobiles titles and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Rumble's like the greatest success or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? But, it's something cool that they decided to do. I can appreciate Rumble for what it is, but also Dream Team and stuff like that, Sonic X Shadow Generations, massive success, right? So, they're doing a lot. They're getting as creative as they can with this franchise right now, and, most recently, we're focusing very heavily on, Sonic Racing Crossworlds and stuff like that. We're getting constant new characters and updates and maps and events and stuff like that. We're currently in the midst of a Legends competition, and one thing that they did say was that they wouldn't be focusing very heavily on this game if it wasn't heavily supported by the people, and people are playing very consistently, which is why they are going out of their way to make sure that we have, weekly events at this point, right? So, that's incredible. That's amazing. I can't be upset with that at all. Crossworlds doing well means the franchise is doing well, right? So, that being said, their most recent venture with this audio drama is the most story-heavy, modern story-heavy situation we've had since Frontiers. So a lot of people have their eyes on this right now. It's a massive deal, right? We're hearing characters get voices and, plots and things like that that we haven't heard in ages. Vanilla hasn't had a voice in a very long time when you think back on it. I think since Sonic X or something, right? You know what I'm saying? We never put that much of an emphasis on Cream Cheese, Emerald, you know what I'm saying? They're bringing characters to life with Tango and Whisper. That was an absolutely massive thing. We're getting voices with them, and again, most recently, Infinite, which, which is crazy because Infinite as a character was just widely regarded as a joke, but people are so excited, myself included, you know what I'm saying? Even though he is overly edgy and stuff like that, I'm a sucker for edgy stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so I've always liked his design and stuff like that, and his edginess is just it's ridiculous, don't get me wrong, but I find it fun, you know what I'm saying? It's stupid fun, and his powers are neat, especially the way he used the Phantom Ruby and stuff like that. So it was just super interesting, right? So all of this, right? We're finally leading into the massive conclusion according to Vector, we're leading into the massive conclusion this upcoming Tuesday for the Chaotix Casefiles. We already know who the culprit is that's been stealing the astroscopic, whatever, man, the lenses. Who's been stealing the lenses? It's been Infinite this entire time, and he's been utilizing that to gather power. For what precisely? Well, obviously to torture everybody that's done him wrong, and as of right now, he hates the entire world, so much so that, he even booted Eggman out the scene, you know what I'm saying? He was generally pretty loyal to Eggman for the most part, kind of to my understanding in Forces. Again, I Didn't play myself, but to my understanding, you know, he was pretty loyal to Eggman in Forces because, you know, he thought he could bring him something that he didn't have. And now he's at the point where he's mad at everything. You know, everybody's just got to go, and everybody's got to suffer. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like a double whammy because, as Vector stated, you know, you can't make everybody suffer if everybody's gone, and you can't get rid of everybody if you want people to suffer, you know? So it's just like, it's kind of interesting in that way, you know, that they point out the flaw in his actions, right? But Infinite's just at the point where he's just like, you know what? I don't care. I just need somebody else to get hurt, and I'm starting with you goofballs, right? And I think that's a fun way to go about it. I think that's a very, like, natural, like, yeah, this is what he's like, this is where his mindset's at right now because of the events of Forces, and that totally makes a lot of sense, right? And it's a lot of stuff like that I really appreciate about the Chaotix Casefiles. They're bringing so much personality and character and, you know, developments to these worlds and these characters that we never got a chance to see as much before outside of, like, you know, the comic books and stuff like that, because IDW is actually, you know, they do a good job of, like, developing a lot more when they can, right? Like, personality wise and things like that. So, you know, in the case of Infinite coming back, that's a massive thing because, you know, as much of a joke as it was in Sonic Forces, he's strong. Like, he's, you know, the way he used his powers weren't amazing, but, like, the entire point, you know, that IDW especially was trying to get across was that, you know, these people were suffering under the reign of Eggman, and especially Infinite. Like, Infinite was a demon on the field. He was single-handedly taking out just armies and towns and just everything under the sun that opposed him and Eggman, you know? So it's like, you know, they really make sure to re-emphasize, like, yeah, like, he wasn't the brightest cookie in the crumble, but he was a threat. Like, he's dangerous, especially in his mental state. So having as much power as he has, especially with the astroscopic lenses, I'm never gonna get that right, so, you know. I'm not looking it up either, because this is supposed to be a ramble, but, you know, having access to that kind of a power makes him a very, very dangerous threat. And right now, you know, they're in a position where he has everything he needs to shut everybody down. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, this could go a good couple of ways, right? And, you know, that all of that to say, this is a massive thing because people do seem to be under the impression that this could be leading into the next major Sonic title, right? At this point in time, it is 2026. We've been waiting on the next major Sonic game for a good couple of years now. Post Frontiers, I hate to even say this out loud. I really do. Especially because I love Frontiers, right? I adore Frontiers for what it is. It is not a flawless game, though. It is full of flaws. It has a lot of issues. It definitely falls apart in some aspects where you know, I wish it didn't, but again, you know, given the history and situation with Sonic Team and Sega, and, you know, just Sonic as a brand for the last decade, you know, it's kind of inevitable that they would end up in a very spotty position that they really had to build back up from, and Sonic Frontiers, as far as the games go, was that first building block. So, I don't even want to say this out loud, but it was mostly, more than anything, the proper steps in the right direction. I hate myself for saying it out loud. I hate it. I'm so mad at myself for having to say it out loud, but it was, you know, it had a lot of characterization that we haven't seen from these characters in a very long time. You know what I'm saying? Developments between relationships with these characters, with Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic and Tails, Sonic and Amy, different aspects of those relationships, different lenses to see those relationships through. You know, like, yeah, Amy's not just this one-trick pony that just loves Sonic and just follows him around wherever he goes, you know? She has a love for life, she has a love for adventure too, but, you know, her personality doesn't simply revolve around Sonic. And I think both, you know, the IDW comics definitely have done a decent job of showcasing that, but, you know, to the more general audience that don't read the comics, I think Frontiers did a solid job of that as well, right? Like, it literally is, like, now I've been reading the comics more recently, and it really is just like, I mean, it is Ian Flynn's writing, so it's really like he just pulled that Amy right out of the comics, and it's very, very interesting to see it from that different perspective, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Generally speaking, now, not to delve too much back into Frontiers or anything like that, but, Frontiers was a solid building block. Despite its flaws, it had a lot of the energy that people have been wanting back with this franchise for a very long time, which is why so many people are really hoping that this next major Sonic title is going to be something big, something massive, and it's going to have the quality and, not perfected ideas, but like more realized ideas that were presented in Sonic Frontiers, right? So we could definitely see the potential of the quality based on what we got with that small little snippet of Shadow Generations, right? We saw just super high quality pretty much across the board. So now we're walking into this one hoping we could get some of that quality as well. But we don't know anything about what the potential story could be walking into now, right? But I feel like, and same with a lot of others, that this, whatever happens in this next in this next episode of the audio drama, could either hint towards or lead us into that next major title, right? Because again, they had to have been working on this next title for a good couple of years now. The primary team, I'm sure. I mean, maybe it slowed them down a little bit because they're still working with Crossworlds and stuff like that. Because that's an in-house game. That it's not a mainline title. It is technically a spin-off, but it was made in-house and it's so high quality, especially compared to a lot of other spin-offs, that it may as well be a mainline title, right? But regardless, at this point in time, it's been at least a good couple of years since they've started development on Sonic Frontiers 2, or whatever that next game so happens to be. And I don't know, we could be walking into something crazy, and it could be a situation in which we could potentially see Infinite as a villain again, and this could be something of a redemption arc for him. He could be a true villain, he could be a true threat to the series now. And man, I'm super with that. I'm super with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Infinite just he had potential off rip that was just also squandered off rip. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was showcased to be this like super powerful, like mind melding villain that had this crazy ability to manipulate the Phantom Ruby and make reality whatever he wanted it to be. With this new, with these new items that he has under his belt, we could see a development in which he becomes even more potentially dangerous, a much bigger threat, and I don't think I would be opposed. I really don't think I would be opposed to something like that, especially if we could delve more into like some heavy lore bits and things like that, utilizing Infinite. I'm down. I really am, and I feel like a lot of people feel that same way, or it could be a potential situation in which whatever Infinite does here could lead to something catastrophic that could throw us into the, the beginning stages of the next game. Maybe Infinite does something so crazy with the lenses that it creates an entire wormhole or a new reality of some sort that we need to traverse through to protect or, utilize to get back home or whatever, So I don't know. I feel like the Chaotix Casefiles has to mean something, right? Because here's my thing, and I hate to think this way, I really do. But there is a real chance, right, that maybe a lot of people are blowing this out of proportion, right, myself included, and we could easily just be seeing this for what it is, just in a fun little side project, much to the, same degree as what's the little tiny spin-off visual novel, The Death of Sonic the Hedgehog, or what is that what it's called? Who Killed Sonic? I forgot what the name of the game was, but regardless, the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. We could just be seeing a situation that is for what it is, just a fun little audio drama that was a good little adventure, and I mean, cool. That would be awesome. I feel like I'd be a little disappointed if they just spent the next probably 23 minutes not easily per se, but finding some way to defeat Infinite, and that's just that. Like, Infinite's done, the audio drama's over, and we still have no semblance of when we could look forward to the next Sonic title, and this would have nothing to do with that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself on that, but I feel like it would be just a little disappointing, just a little bit, if this didn't lead to something, right? I still think for what it is, I'm very happy that they did this audio drama. I love that they're tapping into different genres, they're tapping into different avenues that they could have fun with, because I never in my lifetime would have imagined, especially because in the most recent couple of years, or I guess I'm gonna say this most recent year, right, within the last couple months, I've been getting heavily into like audiobooks and stuff like that. I have commutes to work, and I'm tired of my music. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. So getting, you know, an audio drama for Sonic the Hedgehog specifically, beautiful. Like, that is genius. I'm so happy that they decided to do this at all. Regardless of how this ends up turning out, I'm so pleased that they did this. And I'm in love with the project. Although the writing is so good, like the way these characters are like written and characterized throughout this, their dialogue, their tones, everything about them has been so good and so high quality so far. The primary director for the Chaotix Casefiles is actually Ian Jones-Quartey, who is known for OKKO on Cartoon Network. Also, Rebecca Sugar's significant other, helped with a lot of work on Steven Universe and stuff like that. So I've been following his work for a good couple years, obviously, like a good quarter of my life, actually. So hearing that he helped direct this was super astounding. And it definitely shows in the work, because he's a good writer. And I love the way he's handled a lot of these characters, because it's very obvious he has a love for the series, and so he has proven that by, you know, keeping up with the material and paying attention to what these characters, you know, are supposed to be and things like that. And he's done a very good job directing the Chaotix Casefiles, because everybody has been so happy with the outcome of a lot of these characters. You know, everybody's, you know, the way people are, you know, cool with Rouge now after years. Like, Rouge has had like a kind of a mishandling for a good couple of years there, you know, until Shadow the Hedgehog's The Dark Beginnings. And so since then, you know, it's been pretty solid, pretty stable, and now we're seeing all these different characters come to life again, and in new ways and in fresh ways, and it's so exciting. And Ian Jones has done just a phenomenal job handling this story, these characters, with so much care and love, and I appreciate that so much, which is why, again, no matter how the ending of this turns out, I'm cool with it, right? But I'm not going to sit here and say that I won't be a little bit disappointed if we don't have some form of foreshadowing for that next major Sonic title, right? Maybe I'm a little greedy, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been getting some solid Sonic content for the last good couple of years now, and, you know, I'm loving Crossworlds. I will always adore Crossworlds, you know what I'm saying? I can't wait till that next Sonic title, but I'm willing to wait, especially if they are really taking their time with it and making sure that it's good, it's high quality, it's polished, and it's something that we can sink our teeth into for a decent amount of time before we inevitably get into that, you know, big discussion, analyzation era where we break down every aspect about it, what's good, what's not good, and what needs to continue going forward with the Sonic franchise in terms of the games, right? So, I don't know, but if there is definitely any takeaway from all of this, it's that I really do hope that we do have some form of lead-in or some kind of setup for the next title. Maybe, I'm not saying like next week we're gonna see the Chaotix Casefiles final episode and then we're gonna just magically within that week or the next week or whatever get the reveal for the next major Sonic title. That's probably not gonna happen, but I feel like there could still be something here that could be really fun for everybody. But I don't know. I think I maybe I'm banking too much here, but maybe that's just me. But overall, that just about does it for this one. I just wanted to talk about this in particular because, you know, I've been loving the Chaotix Casefiles. It's been such a fun little journey seeing all of these characters get a little more time to shine, especially the Chaotix, right? Like, I was never all that attached to Vector, Charmy, Espio, but now I love these guys, man. They're so much fun, and it's just such a good time to be around them, right? So I think this little audio drama has done just a phenomenal job for these characters, and I can't wait to see more. I really do hope they go out of their way to do more stuff like this. Maybe a sequel to the Chaotix Casefiles, maybe a second one, or just a general audio drama with somebody else, maybe with Rouge. You know, I could, oh my god, bro, the saxophone comeback would go crazy with a Rouge-based audio drama. Dude, I would love it, I would love it, but we'll see what happens. But, you know, if it leads into something, cool. If it doesn't, we'll be okay. You know, they're working diligently on that next game, I know in my heart. So, you know, at least there's nothing to worry about there. I'm passing the mic in your direction, and I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Do you agree that there could be a potential situation in which this audio drama leads to something massive in terms of reveals for the next major Sonic title? We could see a massive, like, just overhaul, not overhaul per se, but we could see something huge in terms of Infinite and the astroscopic lenses, and we could see a real story beat that could lead to a really cool story for the second title, or the next title, or everybody's blowing things out of proportion. The next episode is going to end everything, and that's just going to be it for the Chaotix case files, and we need to be okay with that, which we will be. But, you know, I don't know. What do you think? Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone, so thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!